Going to go for two here.
He's going for two.
If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Going to go for two here. Go for two here.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
All right, welcome in. I don't know if you guys could see that or not, but Chad was the invisible man there for a second. We're episode 24 now. You know, we're headed into the championship weekend. Oh, I've been corrected. We are episode 25 now.
But
But
it just happened so fast, eh? Fun is where your friends are.
yeah. Things are just flying by. It feels like we just shot episode 23, so I don't know. Anyway,
It was just like yesterday.
Yeah, lots of stuff to talk about. Obviously, we have the championship games are set now. We're going to break down a little bit of what's going on in the NBA. We're definitely going to talk about some different situations in football, whether it be the rules or the new coaches or whatever happened this weekend. And then, you know, we got to break down a little bit of hockey, and then we got our new segment that we're going to do at some point, big deal or no. But right off the top, I wanted to lay this on you guys. Did you know that Tom Brady is about to be the starting quarterback of a championship game in his third decade?
Yeah, I saw that the other
Third
day.
decade.
Are we blessed or are we cursed? It's the
I think we're
same as
blessed.
it is always
think
is,
it's a
or is
blessing,
it just a
man.
blessing we get to see that all the time?
I think it's a blessing, man. We're gonna hate it when it's gone.
Yeah, there's going to be a whole lot
14
of parity, right?
championships in 21 years. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, makes no sense.
That's not fair. He's a pretty good
66%.
player, they say.
Yeah, but you know, when I read that, I knew I had to bring that up on the show. There's not really much discussing it. If you don't think that what Tom Brady's done is great, then you're officially fired from the show. And if you're watching this, then unsubscribe to our YouTube channel. Right, Liam?
I would love to see what LeBron's like field goal percentage is, because I have a feeling there's a better chance of Tom Brady getting to a conference championship than LeBron making a shot.
Wow. Yikes.
Wow.
That's what the stat, if you think about it. Like,
Yeah.
Liam, can you pull up LeBron James field goal percentage? Because I bet you that it's got to be pretty close.
Yeah.
He gets bombs in the New Jersey.
While he's looking that up, we'll move on to basically the complete opposite. 0.35?
It's just
0.375. Wow.
37%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awfully low.
That's pretty high. But yeah, let's talk about this disaster that's going on in Houston. I'm not even talking about the basketball team this time. I'm talking about the football team. Houston Texans, they're about to lose Deshaun Watson. They basically lost their other best player last offseason. They traded away their entire offseason. They dumped Billy O'Brien. They brought in this I can't think of his name, but I mean,
Nick
he seems like
Caserio?
yeah, I mean, he seems like the right guy to go, but head coaching candidates are saying that they don't even want to interview there. Like, do you think that's disrespectful as a coach?
no.
I think that, yeah, you get the opportunity to pick where you want to go.
I'm like, why would I take? Like, you're going to go to a team who doesn't have a starting quarterback. You have no draft picks. It's like the death penalty, like SMU all over again.
Right.
Like you're like your first, like, unless your GM and your ownership is going to give you a 5-year deal, and they're going to keep you there all 5 years. But the NFL is like, what have you done for me lately? And that's you're walking into a shitstorm.
Yeah.
They could be a 3-win team again next year, and the following year after that. So at what point is it worth you? Like you're going back to be a coordinator. All
Right.
over.
Now, I'll play a devil's advocate for you there then. Now, what would be interesting, though, is to be a head coach and come in and get there before Deshaun gets out. Potentially, you could save the relationship. It's highly unlikely at this point from the sounds of things, but it's potential to be there. And if it doesn't work out, you also get to be there when they're making the trade and maybe voice your input about where you want it to go, right? I mean, they're going to try and get the best they possibly can as far as returns go. But do you go into that position if you go to Tua, maybe be your return quarterback coming back? Because there's a whole lot of rumbles about the players of Miami here and stuff are saying stuff, right? So I don't know. Do you do that, or do you like? That's where I would play as devil's advocate. I'd say I can at least try and mend the relationship, and if I can't mend the relationship, I can at least be involved in the trading of the player and hopefully get back a quarterback that I would like to be my quarterback. Right?
Do you want to know a trade that I think would work on both ends?
Go ahead.
The Detroit Lions.
Oh,
You send Matt Stafford back to Texas, his home state. You only have to give up probably one first rounder, which is a 7 pick. So you're not actually setting back your own franchise too by going after Watson. So you're getting your quarterback of the future. You're giving Houston still a very good quarterback, and you're going to give them the number 7 pick, and then Houston regains that first round pick they lost.
I like that.
And
Could
it's
work.
reasonable.
yeah, it could work. But at the same time, I don't know. How many years do you think Stafford really has left?
Tom Brady's still going strong. Drew Brees was 42.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I look at those players and compare them to the same competitiveness that Stafford. I don't think Stafford has their competitive level. I think he's only got a few years. I think Detroit has worn him out. I think you look at him. I think he's just tired, man. He's beaten up
Yeah, he
every year.
gets revitalized. He gets to go home. He gets to play in his home state, and I think that trade makes a lot of sense. I mean,
Could be fun, yeah.
It's probably not going to happen because it makes sense and it involves the Texans, but they don't. They don't really do a lot of that stuff. Did anybody else feel like the playoffs were the playoffs again this weekend? We talked about it a little bit last week, how we didn't think the wild card really felt like playoffs. But watching these games Saturday and Sunday, they all felt like they were important games. And I don't know. I was engaged in all of them.
Yeah, I was locked in. Every single one I was locked in.
Helped that I won money, like betting, but yeah.
Yeah, the Browns and the Chiefs game, I for a moment there when Patrick went out, it felt like the momentum swing was going right towards Cleveland. Did you put some money on Cleveland at that point, Shane?
I did not, but the other two boys did.
I threw $20 on the Browns. I got them out of plus 710.
Was this before the game, or was this right as Mahomes got injured?
No, like it was live. Like right as Mahomes, I was driving, and I heard on the radio. I instantly pulled over so I could make that bet.
Looked up cool bets and made a bet.
Yeah, literally, I pulled over, went on cool bet. I was like, I texted Shane earlier. I was like, it's at 710. I'm putting $20 down. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah, I had the Browns plus 15.5, and I mean at that point I knew I was already going to lock in my my bet, so didn't want to hedge too far and just give them all my winnings back.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, it was an intense group of games. I mean, that one I didn't think was going to be really that close. I definitely, I mean, we'll talk about Buffalo a little bit later, but I definitely thought that Baltimore was going to have the opportunity to put them into like an upset alert. And no, I don't think that, I don't think Baltimore ever had their car,
Yeah, we are who they thought they were. We thought they were, yeah. Absolutely. The offense was completely shut down. But Buffalo is just, wow, man. They're so good, bro. Like they're going to be, I know I'm on the wagon. I keep saying this, but they're just so fun to watch, man. They just work.
They cannot run the football. It's going to bite them.
Josh Allen could do it. Josh Allen can run it for him.
Well,
unless he gets hurt, right? And I'm not knock on wood over here.
Josh Allen didn't even get 33 yards rushing. Why do I know that? Because I bet on him to go over 33 yards rushing.
Yeah.
That's okay, though. Their offense isn't predicated off the run. They've been able to whip the ball around. Their wide receivers, I don't know how many toe drags, specifically Buffalo's wide receivers, have done this playoffs. That first game against the Colts, I could think of 4 offhand. This past game, everything was at the sidelines, it seems, which is awesome. You're not giving your wide receiver or the defenders any chance to lay a big hit on your wide receivers by any means at all.
I mean, Josh Allen just extends plays. He's, I think that he's better than even he's getting the credit for. How I feel about national media and how they cover everything. The Bills have the best offense in the world and they don't run the ball, but other teams can't run the ball and they're the worst team in the world. So, I'm not ready to subscribe to all that, but I do think that the Bills are good enough to not have to run the ball until they get into a close game like the game against the Colts where they needed to be able to run the ball and they couldn't. And they almost gave it back. They almost weren't even in the position that they're in right now because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I get almost don't count, but
yeah. And but how interesting would it be as a storyline and poor Bills fans if somehow the Bills, they're the ones to make the AFC or the Super Bowl or the AFC, the Bucks make it in the NFC, and the Bills have to face the Sith Lord and Tom fucking Brady. How crazy would that be, man? Oh, it would be so heartbreaking for Bills to have to, but at the same time, if they win, oh my God, they could really get the monkey off their back, huh?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Chad,
Yeah.
you tell us how you felt about this weekend.
As far as like the Bills go,
Look at the
I was just-
shitty grin on this guy. Oh my God, you had a good
Do-
weekend, didn't you?
Do you know what I didn't have this shooting grin though? At halftime of the Bucks and Saints game, I was a little nervous.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But yeah, no, the football was awesome. Like we kind of said the week before, it was a lot of when is this going to end? We just weren't invested. As I think as it all went down, like 13 hours of football, which is never a bad thing, almost felt like a bad thing.
Yep.
This week was awesome. The games were intense. I didn't think there was a game that didn't draw us in. But like the takeaway I have is how good is Aaron Rodgers? Like that's literally what it comes down to. They are so good offensively, and I don't think Tampa Bay can beat them. I know we beat them earlier. I don't think we can beat them. I don't think there's a team in the NFL right now that can beat Aaron Rodgers right now. That defense is pretty good. They're definitely good enough. And then Aaron Rodgers, different beast, and now they're running the football.
So
Yeah.
They
that
have Aaron
right
Jones
there,
and
though,
AJ Dillon.
right there, you guys have one of the best rush defenses in the league. That's where I think we have not seen the run game stop in Green Bay. When Green Bay went to go play against Tennessee, Jones was out. He got hurt right before the pregame. We thought they weren't going to be able to run the ball. And then AJ Dillon came out of nowhere. Well, I mean, you guys have been hyping him up all season. He's a great player. But the guy had 130 yards. Nobody expected he was going to be able to do that in a snow game. So
he's the biggest running back in the league.
That's right. Yeah. And so I'm wondering if a team can shut down the run game. And obviously, Aaron Rodgers is going to be the MVP here. He can carry a team. But if you guys can shut down the run game, there's a lot of weight that has to fall on the receivers, man. I don't know. There could be something there.
Do you know why we have such a good run defense?
Because everybody passes on you.
Everybody
but you're
throws the ball.
21st. You're not even that. I mean, you're the bottom third, but you're 21st in the league. It's not as if you're in the bottom 5 or whatever. So you can still stop some people. You're just not. It's gonna be tough to stop Aaron friggin' Rodgers. But just let's see what happens with the run game. If I want to really, we're gonna see 40 throws at Aaron this weekend.
And Devontae Adams is the best receiver in football.
But yeah, and right now I think it's by far. I'm not
By
even sure
far?
I don't even.
I don't think it's close.
No, it's
Woo!
not.
Stephon Diggs might want a word.
That's fine. He can cash hands too.
Yeah.
The thing about Diggs is that he doesn't have the same height and body build that Devontae Adams has. That's where I think I got to give him a little bit of leeway there. He get covered by 6'1" corners and he can still get open. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that Drew Brees right now is as good as Josh Allen because he's smaller?
What?
You
What
know,
does
it's
that
like,
you just
how does that make sense?
There's a very big difference between height on a quarterback and height in a wide receiver. A wide receiver, especially if they're 6'2" and they have the body build like Devontae and push off and such, Diggs is pure route runner. He's never going to be using his weight or using leverage at all.
Devontae Adams, all he does is run routes. He doesn't push off at all. He doesn't even use his hands to get off the line at all.
He uses leverage off of his routes. Off the line, you're right. It's off the line. It's all feet. He hop jumps, which always gets cracked about. But if somebody uses leverage, he's a very good leverage user. He puts his body into somebody when he needs to cut off on his route, he can. Whereas Diggs I don't think he's ever got somebody he's got to push off of at all. He's just.
Let's say this: if Devontae Adams went in the locker room and him and Aaron Rodgers got into a little argument, do you think that they'd be trading Devontae Adams? Nope. But that happened. That happened to Diggs. I'm not saying Diggs is a bad receiver.
There was a plethora of riches in Minnesota at that time. They could afford. They first didn't have the cap room to be able to hold that many people on the team, and they could afford to get rid of Diggs because they had Adam Thielen there.
Wow.
Also, nobody wanted Diggs to date their sister. I don't know if you guys saw that video.
Yeah, I did see that video.
Yeah, that's brutal. That's rough.
Yeah.
Being called out like that.
But yeah, I mean, you're talking about Diggs. Something that we were talking about earlier today is, I know that everyone says that the Bills are good, and I know that we've been talking about the Bills have been good. You know, I think it was week 1 or 2. Chad said that Josh Allen was going to be the MVP, and everyone got after him, even though it was out of context. He didn't actually mean it in that sense. But are the Bills getting enough credit for what they're doing?
I think they're getting too much now.
Okay.
Seriously, like I think I think everybody's buying into Josh Allen and how he's like the second coming of Jesus Christ. Sorry, Shane.
I gotta get a
But,
beer. I'm listening.
Yeah,
Now.
yeah. I think that's now they're all on the hype train, and like their offense is sexy. They have a shutdown corner, so that helps out too. And they've done nothing since '95 or '94. They had their 1 year with Flutie Flake, and they had a little push there. But like the people of Buffalo and I think just like the northeast part of America outside of Boston wants to see Buffalo do good. And it's just one of those things, a feel-good story. They lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. They can never, always a bridesmaid. And now it's like, oh, they got their chance all over again, right? So I think that's what now it's like everybody is hopping on and saying, this is our team, this is our year. But they haven't beat the Chiefs yet. And they still have to play a really good team in the NFC, whether it's Tampa or Green Bay. Like, if they win the whole thing, 100%. But I think right now they're getting the treatment last year the Chiefs were getting. And not everybody thought the Chiefs had it granted either. So we'll see how it plays out.
I think that we get kind of overexposed to the Bills specifically right now because of our location. We're kind of in Bills and Lions area. So I think we're really getting kind of people that normally wouldn't be Bills fans are suddenly Bills fans just because it's convenient to do it around this time.
Is that right, Galen?
Hey, I said I was on the wagon. I already admitted that. That's okay. But I also think that there's another reason why they're gaining so much hype and why you may be seeing them a lot. It's because the deeper they go into the playoffs, the further we all realize that is going to be their division for a while. They're a team that's going to be built to win for a few more years, at the very least 2 to 3 years, which is a long time in the NFL. There's a lot of parity now. And that division
just doesn't seem like it when you have a guy like Tom Brady around, you know? Two
yeah,
or
exactly.
3 good years, like, and you're supposed to be happy with that when there's stuff like that. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. And it doesn't appear like any of the other teams are. I mean, New York's got a new head coach, but we have to see how that's going to play out, right?
Yeah.
And I don't have no idea what New England is going to do. Like it's an absolute mystery out of that team all the time.
Which
and then,
I got to cut you off again for 1 sec. Chad, you remember we were talking the other day, and you're like, some dude with 5 followers just tweeted that Bubber Skull is the new coach of the Jets, and we're like, yeah, if he doesn't have a blue check mark, he's a loser. I think we should get that guy on the show.
Yeah,
he broke that news 3 days before it happened. He knew.
He had no followers. He posted something like, unless it's Adam Schefter, I'm not buying what's being sold. Literally 2 days later, I'm like, oh, that son of a bitch was right.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, Caitlin, go back to what you're talking about. How to get that out there.
So the only other team in the division that I think can compete with them is the Dolphins. And there's a lot of, like we talked earlier, I said earlier, there's a lot of question marks about Tua and what he can actually bring to the team. So I don't know where that team comes from or where the team goes. Sorry. So yeah, I think the Bills, the further they go, the more we realize that they're just going to be around for a while. And that means that the hype train is going to be chug-a-lugging up here, guys.
Okay. That's okay. I was just kind of curious. Now we're going to start. This is our new piece that we were talking about. It's called Big Deal or No. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you guys a series of questions, and you just let me know. If you want me to tell you if it's a big deal or not, you can feel free to ask, but I'm just going to ask you guys. Well, Penguins just took the lead. This situation with the New York Mets GM, is it a big deal or not a big deal?
What happened in New York?
Oh, yeah. The GM decided to use his unlimited texting plan and sent 62 explicit messages.
62 Brett Favre's, eh?
He brags Brett Favre someone too.
Yeah, some reporter in New York.
Exactly, Brett Favre somebody.
Yeah,
Oh my God, in the same city and everything. I wonder if it was the
62
same
times.
Reporter. 62 times. Do you think? Is it the same picture? How does that happen?
Do you think he puts hats on it?
Did he get any replies? Like, did she say something?
As far as the report goes, and I mean, we're not in the courtroom or anything or whatever. Sure. Like, there was no replies. So there was just a bunch on one side and nothing on the other side of the ledger.
So much penis.
Just straight no GM who's sending dick pics. Wow, he must have been on something that night, huh?
I'm going
That's
to tell
so-
you, I think that all of these pictures were taken in the time right when he traded for Lindor up until he got caught. Like,
He was
that's
just
how I
hard the
feel.
whole time.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was just gonna say that
He
man
could-
did a massive trade, and then now he gets canned for dick pics. He probably thought he had the key to the city with that trade.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys think it's a big deal or not, but
Yes, big deal. The Mets
Yeah.
are like I know I'm not deep into baseball, but the Mets are still primed to be a good team in the NL, are they not?
absolutely. They spent a lot of money. They're in the running for George Springer, and that guy has to decide between a team with no stability in the front office or a team with no home base.
And that is in Toronto. Oh,
And it seems
okay.
like Toronto's going to start their season in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll call that breaking news. That's about as breaking as the show will get. So we're saying that's a big deal. How about
Yeah,
this?
that's a big deal.
Like, how big are we talking? Like,
I don't,
Either-
he knows the
Yeah.
answer.
I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that the owner was unimpressed. So I don't
Maybe
know
he
what
was too impressed and said, "I can't have a man like that working under me."
to tell you. Yeah. Speaking of, how about this ugly start by the Oilers? Is it a big deal or no?
Oh, that it's going to be tough in that Canadian division if you sink yourself a hole early like they've been doing. That I think it is a big deal. I don't care that we're only 4 games into the season or 3 games into the season. They lost to Montreal twice, right? And Vancouver once. They beat Vancouver one time. And Vancouver, in my opinion, isn't even going to be a very strong team. So in the Canadian division, anyway, I think they would have been if it was still the West. But yeah, it's a big deal. If they've got about 5 more games to figure it out, if we see 3 losses out of that 5, they're in trouble, real trouble.
I kind of made a joke last week about how like Toronto fans are all losers. When it comes to Edmonton, if it wasn't for the Eskimos, like I don't think they have anything to cheer for in that city. And if for everybody, if you don't know what the Eskimos are, that's a CFL football team. They haven't been good since Wayne Gretzky played there.
I'm not sure they're called that anymore. I'm not sure what they are.
They're
I think
the
they're
Edmonton football team.
I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, they haven't been good since the 80s. It's always been like this. They had their run in the early 90s, I guess. There with I think it was Ryan Smith and those guys. They had the hot goalie the one year. I can't think of what his name was.
Cujo.
Yeah. Is it when they lost to Carolina? You're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of that, it was just one of those things. Like they're playing for a lottery pick every year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
those
I don't
fans are
think any of their-
passionate, though.
yeah, like I don't think their fan base isn't going to change.
What's hilarious, you
gonna
got to
support
listen to
them.
hanging with our friend Sean T, and that guy hard sells that team like they are the best team in the NHL, living on their laurels of the 80s. It's crazy.
Chad knows Big Fudge.
Oh, yeah.
He's the only Buccaneers fan that drives me crazy.
Probably
likes
Jameis
Jameis
Winston's
Winston.
mom too. Yeah. So yeah, we're thinking that that's kind of a big deal that you can't really fall behind in that division.
Not with 56 games. If it was a full season, we were talking that's no, but like 56 games, they're in trouble maybe in 5 more games.
This next one probably wouldn't have even made the list except for the fact that we buried these guys last week. The Raptors have won 3 in a row since we buried them last week.
I'm glad I sparked them.
Yeah.
I put a fire underneath them.
Yeah,
I think it is big news.
Yeah.
And that's a big turnaround, right? They're getting their asses kicked and they turn it around. That's good for the organization, gets confidence back. And the last thing they need is to like have people like us just hating on them for no reason.
Right.
I mean, it's nice for the fans, but realistically, they don't have a team that can compete. Nobody has a team in the East that can compete directly against Brooklyn right now. But Toronto doesn't have a team that can compete. Like I said last time we talked about this, they don't have a team that compete against Boston in a 7-game series. I don't think it takes 7 for Boston to beat Toronto in that series. They definitely cannot go up against a team like Philadelphia with their current roster. Too many big men. 6'9" point guard. Like,
Yeah.
Kyle Lowry's going to cover that? Give me a break, right?
Right.
Fred VanVleet's it's not going to happen. It's good for the fans. It's horrible for the organization. They need draft picks. They need to build the team through the draft because clearly the team is not going to be buying free agents with the contracts they've handed out unless they're able to trade a player like Lowry and get something in return. They're going to be handcuffed to these players for 3 years.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I'll say about the Raptors, they look like they're trying harder, which, I mean, that's always a good thing. But we'll move on to the next one. Kalen, you're exempt from this one. but I don't mind if Liam decides to chime in.
Oh,
AJ Brown posted something saying that he should have been out for the season as of week 2. That's what the doctors told him. He played through it and made the Pro Bowl. Is that a big deal or no?
Kalen's gonna get mad at me and he's gonna fight me on it. I'm gonna say no, only for the simple reason Julio Jones has been on the injury report since the day he was drafted.
That's true.
And he went to how many Pro Bowls? I'm not saying that his knees weren't messed up, but I think it's a little exaggerated of that him saying he couldn't play. If his knees were that bad, he wouldn't have played. It's that simple.
Liam,
As somebody who just came off of a knee injury for 12 years and just had knee surgery, I'm going to say it's not a big deal.
okay. Buried. And then we'll save this one for Kalen. This whole Kyrie Irving mess. Do you still think it's a big deal or no?
I think it was. He hasn't played in still 6 games. He's coming back this weekend. It's a big deal. We're got to see how the team is going to mesh as a whole. As a Celtics fan, I have an animosity towards Kyrie that most people probably wouldn't have. I hate how he did my team. I think he's the best ball handler of all time, but he's a giant piece of shit, and I think that he ruins organizations. KD is going to have to play, at this point, granddad, I guess, on that team right now, or play pops against these guys because I think Harden is going to want the ball a lot. KD has learned how to give up the ball, but I just don't think Kyrie. I mean, the guy just runs away from adversity all the time.
So he's a big deal. Yeah, he's still a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of wraps up. We'll move on to the next thing, which was we're basically into our second, or about to start our second week of hockey now.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's got about 4 games in, except for I guess Dallas, who I'm not even sure if they played yet. To be honest, I don't think that they have because they had their 1-9 issues, but they're gonna get all their games made up. Is there anything that's standing out to you guys so far in the first week?
Yeah, my friend Mikey's gonna hate me hearing this, but the Black. Well, he's kind of said it a little bit. The Blackhawks are in for a really long season. There's some dark days ahead for that franchise. They don't have anybody in net. They've been getting destroyed by. Well, they played Tampa. That's tough to open your season against the Stanley Cup winners, but they're looking really, really bad. And they don't even have Taves playing right now. I don't know if he's even going to come back for the season. So that's looking ugly in Chicago. Can Bowman fix it? I don't know.
Chad, what are you thinking?
Well, as I don't watch a lot of hockey, so I'm not going to sit here and drag it on. But I'm actually the one thing is the guys don't have their legs back yet. I've noticed like it just looks significantly slower, which is bound to happen. But like in a short season, like these games matter a lot more. So it's really I think these guys, like you said about Edmonton getting out to their slow start. All these games, like you're losing. I think it was almost 20 games that you're losing, right? 24 games. So now all of a sudden, like these games you're getting your slow start on aren't happening. Guys don't look like they're in shape. So it's going to see how that carries out into the season. If guys are going to fade out faster, or if they're going to just improve as we go, because there wasn't really true training camps either, right? So it's kind of tough that way.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that like the fact that there isn't any preseason is kind of showing in mostly the defense and the goaltending. People don't seem to have the chemistry that they're supposed to. I mean, there's been a lot of awesome power plays, but there's been a lot of really shitty ones that I've seen. And until we get to that like 10-game, 12-game mark where you think like that would be a regular preseason, it's kind of unfair to start judging this team stinks, that team stinks, especially when like a team like Philadelphia, for example, they make the Penguins look like nothing, and then they go up to Buffalo and Buffalo rinses them. Meanwhile, Buffalo gets rinsed by Washington, and the Penguins beat them in overtime. Like that. You can't get a read off of that stuff.
Yeah, the teams that are outperforming themselves right now, vastly outperforming themselves. Like it looks like my team, the Devils, are about to catch 2 more points. So that's 5 points in 3 games. Where the hell did that come from? I didn't think that was going to happen.
Did you get 5 points last year? Or?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Jack Hughes looks like he's playing a little bit better, so that's something to look forward to at least.
Yeah, well,
PK Subban was yelling at a ref, so I think he's in mid-season form already.
I was just about to say, yeah, he's exactly informed. That's good for him. Good for him.
Yeah.
we
But,
don't have any depth in goalie, so that's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I think as far as the NHL goes, we've kind of all agreed, it's gonna be another week or two before we realize what each team has. But for some of these teams that get off to slow starts, they're not gonna have the wiggle room to make up that kind of spot, and we'll see how it goes. But there's gonna be at least 2 Canadian GMs that are going to be on the hot seat only for not making the playoffs. The only one that's okay to not make the playoffs is in Ottawa. The other 2 that don't, they're in trouble. I can tell you that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's
going to get real chippy in about 15 games too. That's when
well,
like when people
sure.
are starting to see their teams where they're actually the direction they're going, they're going to start getting fighty. Yeah,
for sure.
Well,
for
you're
sure.
playing the same teams nonstop too.
Yeah.
Gallagher's already taken a run at. I can't think of the guy's name, but Gallagher took a Nurse, right? He took a run at Nurse.
Did he?
Yeah. It's a bad idea for him, but
yeah, really it is. I was thinking a
Nurse is a grown man and Gallagher's not.
Yeah, but whatever. He'll learn, and we'll see what happens with the season. But I want to go back to football for a second because there was something that was happening, and I talked to Chad a little bit about it on the phone yesterday because we're both fucking losers. We have nothing else to do except for talk to each other on the phone. But if you were a GM or a coach right now, seeing what happened to Lamar Jackson, seeing what happened to Patrick Mahomes, would you be trying to keep your quarterback in the pocket or completely avoiding a quarterback that wants to run over past the ball?
Yeah, I've always kind of watched and been attracted to the teams that have those quarterbacks that scramble and run and utilize the legs. So if I'm a GM, I'm still going to continue to do the same thing. I think it adds an element in the off chance that somebody gets hit or tackled. Almost every time that we see a quarterback get injured, though, it's because they didn't slide early enough. I mean, what you fought for an extra 3 yards and then you got cracked. You know what I mean? If you had just went down a couple of yards earlier, you'd still be in the game. So I think that just needs to get focused on it and coached up a little bit. But I'm not taking a mobile quarterback. I would love to have that as an element, as long as they can throw. You know what I mean? Like I don't want an inaccurate mobile quarterback.
So take Lamar Jackson out of it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and even like maybe every year except for 3 for Vic.
Chad, what are you thinking?
It's a tough one, right? I'm a quarterback guy. It's what I love. It's what I watch. It's what I break down. I'm a loser. I'm probably the only guy who just sits there and watches guys' actual throwing mechanics, footwork, that kind of things. But the way the game has changed, regardless if you want to do that or not, that's who you're going to take. All these younger coaches are coming from college systems. They're all adapting college systems. And it's the new wave of football. You can't do this RPO style offense without a quarterback that can move. If you don't respect the quarterback, well, then you're never going to bite on the run option. It's that simple.
Right.
I think the days of the traditional drop back passer is gone. Like you see the quarterbacks coming out of college, they can all move.
Except for probably Mac Jones, that guy. You called him a bag.
Tits.
You said he looks like a bag of milk.
Yeah, there's a picture of him topless after they won the championship, and like that guy, there's nothing athletic about that guy. Like he literally was just a shape. He wasn't in shape. He just was a shape. Yeah, like I don't think guys like that are gonna last in the league. Like I think he can sit there and stand back in the pocket and throw the ball. He made a lot of throws I didn't think he could make. That being said, I just don't know if that's where the game's going anymore, right? Like, look what Sean McVay's done. Look what Matt LaFleur's done. And, like, Aaron Rodgers got his career revitalized because of Matt LaFleur and the way they're doing.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers can still move. He's 38 years old.
He just chooses not to.
Yeah. But he doesn't, like, you don't have to be able to run. You just have to be able to move. It's that simple, right?
Right.
And so when you see these guys leave the pocket and become runners, to what Kalen said, like, get down. It's that simple. Get out of bounds. But like we're all dudes here. We all played sports. If I see, like I'm telling you, my quarterback slides in the fourth quarter on third down and he had to get 2 more yards on a first down, I will literally hang him when he gets to the sidelines.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if it's Mahomes?
Like the Chiefs were in like a pretty tough spot. I mean, look at what happened with Mahomes. And then if you look at that run that Chad Henne had, let's just say the defender comes in on a bad spot. I think you got your punter coming in to play quarterback for the rest of the game, because Henny went head first for the first down, and yeah, maybe he ended up coming up a little bit short. But do you think that they're going for it on fourth down if their punter comes in, or
Not
whoever
a chance.
whoever their emergency quarterback is? I mean, it could be Tyreek Hill for all we know. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, pretty pretty absurd. I'd say.
It's scary regardless, right? Like you don't want those guys taking shots, but at the end of the day, like they're gonna do them, and you're gonna be okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's like, but now, like as you said, like Mahomes as of today is still out.
He's still in the protocol. Yeah.
Yeah,
Got them jelly legs, huh?
Yeah, and what's disgusting about it is, I mean, whoever is making the betting lines must know that Mahomes is going to play, because the Bills are the underdog still in that game with Mahomes in the protocol. I don't know, man.
I don't know how they can let him play. Like I question the protocol if he plays.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking too. When he first went to stand up and he had no legs,
Yeah,
and he got Lieutenant Dan and fell onto the ground. I was like, yeah, I don't know, man. This guy is out for the rest of this game for sure.
So
like,
everything
good
I
on
read
him
though
for
was
trying to jog into the tunnel. Like good on him for trying to put on that act.
Yeah.
But did you actually see when he turned the corner to go in the tunnel? He ate the wall.
Yeah.
Like he took it so wide, he ate the wall.
And yeah, like we're not putting light on the fact that the guy got a concussion. We're just saying, like,
but no, he did. So that's
I mean,
the thing, though.
it's
As far as
crazy.
I know, he didn't even get the concussion, though. As far as I know, like from what I read, it was a pinched nerve. No. From what I read, it was a pinch. You know when you like, there's like that nerve or whatever that's in, like when you're fighting and you can hit somebody there and it knocks them out, but it's not a concussion. It's like that nerve that goes up the side of your jawline or whatever. Apparently, it got pinched up when he got rolled up, and that's what they're saying knocked him out. So they're saying that I'm not making this up, guys. You can see this yourself. This is Liam. As we're talking about this further, if you could back me up on that one, please. But
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying whoever science this is, I'm questioning it.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
If somebody gets punched at that spot, you're a fighter, Chad. If you get punched at that spot, is it always going to be a concussion, or is it simply you got knocked out?
No, if you get knocked out, you have a concussion. I'm sorry. You get night. Like that's a shot to your brain, man. The lights went out in Georgia. It's over. It's that simple. Like all the power to them. Like, and people always question like how tough football players are. If that happened in a fight, that fight is stopped instantly. They're not like, oh well, hey, go jog to the tunnel. You maybe come back. They're like, you're done for the night. You get instantly 60 days to 90 days medical suspension. Instantly. So now you're going to tell me that he's going to play this week? Not a thing.
I'm going to ask you guys another question because Liam's looking that up. If this had happened in the 2000 playoffs, would Patrick Mahomes have taken the next step?
Yeah,
100%.
Absolutely. It was actually funny. I was talking about that article that our friend of ours wrote about the Spencer and what Dana White had said. And people were talking. I was saying, basically, the article is explaining about how Dana White didn't take accountability for his sport injuring people. It just basically put him through like processed meat, essentially. And I said that at some point, if you talk like that, Dana is opening the door up to being forced to change the policies there in play that make the game safer. And then I was talking to a couple, my wife included, who watches UFC, and a couple guys at work, and they were asking like, how would they're not going to force him? How do you take knocking out of UFC? And I said the same way that the NFL had to take out the big hits on defenseless receivers, the same way they had to add the stupid hit to the head that gives 15 yards to the quarterback. We still watch it, but the kids that are watching it now have no idea what we got to see 20 years ago and seeing people get flatlined, right? So like the kicks, I think that Dana's going to be forced no kicks to the head. Or no kicks above the shoulder could be something that they could be forced to implement or something along.
Did you know that's a thing in the WWE? You can't hit a guy with a chair in the head no more.
Are you serious?
They can't hit when you like. Remember when we were kids? They used to smash each other in the head with chairs.
I used to go to the dollar store and get the tin pie tins and shit like that, and we would use that back.
You can't hit somebody in the head with a chair anymore in wrestling.
Oh my gosh, man, that's crazy. That's insane. That
it's probably for the best.
Huh. Well, there you go.
So it's
I guess,
weird. And again, I'm not a fighter, so I don't think. I think one time I got like kind of knocked out in football, but like I don't really remember it. So yeah, I must have got knocked out.
Yeah.
I remember puking on the sideline and going back in.
Oh, I remember what it was. It was the birthday. Did you guys ever have to go in the circle on your birthday? You had to get out of the circle, and the whole team is just there fucking cluster fucking you. You ever seen that in playing football?
No.
I think we play different sports.
Fuck yeah! Oh, you know what I mean. Stop it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Did they make you hold the soap or not?
Oh, you asshole.
That's where it went, wasn't it?
Wait, well, Kayla and I played on the same team at some point, so
Yeah.
I can assure you that I didn't play that game. My birthday's in July.
Corey Tillman was there for that one, and he got that was terrible, man. Terrible.
Yeah. Speaking of terrible, and I'm glad that you brought up terrible. I was gonna get you to give me the Joe Cool's clutch delivery, but I want to go to this first. I want you to give me that clutch delivery after. The absolute worst rule in NFL is this bullshit about dropping the ball on the goal line and it fumbles through the end zone.
It's the most slanted one, like the one that it hurts the other team the most for some stupid reason. I don't know why that is.
There's no logic behind it. I don't understand how if you fumble it 1 inch like towards yourself and it goes on this side of the pylon, you just get it there. But if it goes on this side of the pylon, the other team gets it on their 20. I mean, who came up with that?
Probably the same people that came up with half the rules that we like to complain about on a weekly basis in the NFL. The stupid ones that just don't get reversed.
Pathetic.
Like I mentioned, that small tap to the quarterback head. How is that a 15-yard penalty, bro? You want to smack him in the face mask or grab the mask, I get it. But like a little tap to the back of the head is not a 15-yard penalty. That's football.
Chad?
Sorry, I got a little heated there.
It's a redhead in you.
Yeah. Do you want me to name you some other stupid penalties, Chad? And let me see what you think of those ones.
Well, that's all right. There's a lot of them. The only thing I don't understand is why in the NFL you can't review targeting. You can review everything else.
You like that? You like that rule?
I think
Like in NCAA?
You should. No, hear me out. I think you should be able to review it 15 yards. Me and Shane talked about significantly. I don't think it's ever warranted to be suspended for the next game. Okay. The game moves so fast. The players make a cut so quick. You're taking your target point, and within 100th of a second, that target point's moved.
Mm-hmm.
So where you're aiming now, his head could be. Do I think it's 15 yards? Yes. Do I think you should get ejected from a game in college? No. But I do think you should better review targeting, yes. Because on that play, it was actually targeting.
Yeah,
he led with the crown of his head and hit a defenseless player in the head.
The fumble only happens because of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the fumble happens because he took a crown of a helmet to the side of his head, and there was not a flag for the helmet-to-helmet contact or hitting a defenseless football player. If you're going to break down the whole play.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it works. So yeah, I think the targeting should be out of your review. But they're never they tried reviewing pass interference, and the refs never once changed their call because they don't want to lose their credibility, right?
Right.
So
now, like, what if let's just say in that rule, now I'm proposing how we're going to change this rule, the goal line one, and I agree with Chad. I think that the fact that you can't review some of these penalties that are not judgment calls is ridiculous, but we also saw the way that the pass interference things turned out last year. So if we were to call that fumbling through the end zone, what if the offensive team just got it back on the 20? Like, you could still penalize them by doing that. You're putting them in a tough position. If for some reason they were further away, then you could give them a 10-yard penalty for fumbling forward into the end zone or something. But you can't give the other team the ball if they didn't recover it.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of participation ribbon is that?
Yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I agree with you that not to the 20. I think that almost to penalize more than that. Get him outside the red zone, like get him into the 30-yarder or something like that. If that's what happens, make them restart, essentially.
Yeah, put them back on their own 20. Who cares? But
you can replay the down, like it's something like that. You know what I mean?
Literally anything would be better. Like they could make
give the
them
ball to
do
the
a.
team.
they could make them have a dance battle in the end zone to who gets the ball, and I think it would be a better rule than what it has right now.
Well, we know that after a game like that, it's going to be reviewed in the offseason anyway. So it's up to the NFL to botch the fix again.
Yeah, what's crazy is the coaches like are the ones that actually make these rules, like on the competition committee. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
How, as a coach, I mean, if you're Kevin Stefanski, who, I mean, I have no sympathy for that guy, but if you're Kevin Stefanski, you're walking into the meeting in the off season, and like, how is that not the first thing that you're talking about?
It's the only thing I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
Like, I'm not voting yes for anything until you go yes for this.
and the people got to cross off the list as far as voting yes for it are going to be every defensive coach, like defensive coach that's a former defensive coach as it is, like Robert Saleh kind of thing.
yeah. Well, whatever. It's just kind of silly. But you know, the the one thing that wasn't silly was Andy Reid's call. How'd you guys feel about that 4th down?
The biggest balls in North America.
When
It's that simple.
Yeah, you got a team like that. You expect it's just like saying when you got a big running back, they should be able to get that 1 yard. You got the team that you have built on offense the way that it's been built. You should be able to get that first down. You know what I mean?
No, but you have a backup quarterback in.
I
That's
know
the
it.
part that blew-
And that's
you
backup quarterback has been in the league for like 13 years. I think he's like the highest paid backup quarterback of all time.
You don't think that they'd be firing him if he if that play doesn't happen and the Browns go down and score and they get eliminated?
I tell you right now, Eric Bellamy doesn't get a fucking head coaching job if that play doesn't happen.
Oh,
If that ball is thrown incomplete, I bet you Eric Bellamy doesn't get a head coaching job.
He shouldn't anyway. He stinks.
I think Andy Reid has got a lot of sway in Kansas City. I don't want to just like worried that he'd be fired. And I think that if the call came in and Andy didn't like it, he would have said something. And if it didn't work out, he'd be the one to properly wear it in the media room.
Everything changes, man. When you lose a game like that, everything
They
changes.
just won a Super Bowl, guys. They have the best.
I'm not saying I didn't say Andy Reid's getting fired.
Yeah,
I'm just saying like Eric Bellamy's not getting a head coaching job.
Yeah, I mean Doug Peterson didn't just win the Super Bowl, right?
Doug Peterson came from that tree. Andy Reid has been around and been successful in 2 different decades or 3 different decades, and he's got arguably the best offense I've ever seen in the NFL.
Yeah, we beat this thing to death. Give me the clutch delivery and Chad, bring us home. Time to. I could see Liam falling asleep over there.
That's my job.
So, the Joe Cool's clutch delivery of the week. I had a couple of toss-ups, and then Shane gave me a really good one I never even really thought about there. So I was gonna say Connor McDavid's skate up the ice and stop and go. He didn't have to do the goalie like that. It was awesome. Good goal for him. But the good one, and Chad's gonna love this one. What was his name? It was Winfield, right? Said he did it for his dad.
You can't take him if you don't know his name.
No, I wanted to make sure that it was Winfield Jr. because I'm pretty sure he had said, I did that for my dad. It was for my dad.
Antoine Winfield Jr.
Yeah, swatting that ball out and delivering Drew Brees the early retirement papers. Most likely, we don't know for sure, but most likely.
Yeah,
man, you stole my line.
Yeah.
Like you literally stole word for word what I said.
We just shouldn't pregame that, I guess, should
we? Anyway.
You're the reason that no one likes Redheads and Titans fans.
Jeez. All right, wind us up, Chad. Finish this up.
Well, I was going to finish this off with Antoine Winfield setting Drew Brees in retirement, but I'm going to do it different now. I'm going to say that Tom Brady is going to go out the way that Tom Brady wants to go out. I think he's going to take Tampa Bay to a Super Bowl. That's how I'm leaving this show. Tom Brady, Super Bowl champion.
Okay, well, interesting. We're gonna have a show next week where you can take that back. But make sure you tune in later. We'll check out our YouTube channel. Check out our website. Kalen threw up another gem. Chad had one yesterday, so make sure that you're checking out what they're writing. And make sure if you haven't liked or followed us yet, you do that. And go to our page. I mean, if you haven't been a part of our contest, then you better go check out what Chad's video says. Win yourself some free food for the Super Bowl. Anyway, cheers, guys.
Cheers.